Hey guys, I'm Heidi with Heavenly Minded Home, and I shared in yesterday's vlog about the super fun weekend that we had. And so today I just wanted to chit chat with you all. We're kind of just recovering from all of the fun, but really just weighing on my heart has been this topic of having a lovely family life, like creating this life that we just love living with our family, and how special and important and just like life shattering, and changing that is to truly love our time together as a family. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. Come hang out with me. It's beautiful here. I'm in my comfy clothes. Let's sit down and chat. Welcome back. So I shared with you in yesterday's video, don't know if you saw it, but all about our big race extravaganza on Friday. We ended up going on Friday, and we've been dealing with weather and all kinds of crazy stuff. And so I want to talk a little bit about that because we had such an amazing time. We were supposed to host our friends for their daughter's birthday on Friday. Well, we had to swap that because originally we were going to go to the track on Saturday, host our friends on Friday. So we swapped, which means we were at the track all day on Friday, got home really late, hardly slept, hosted our friends on Saturday for their daughter's birthday. We had a wonderful, wonderful time. Of course, Sunday, church, just Sunday stuff. And we're exhausted. And so, yes, I'm literally just like in an oversized sweatshirt, like whatever, just I'm so tired, but the kids are loving it because it's Monday. I'm recording this for Tuesday, and all the races that got postponed over the weekend with the weather they're trying to run. It's beautiful where we are. We're more like Western North Carolina, where Charlotte's kind of more in the center, and it's raining there still today. So they're still dealing with weather today. And it's gorgeous here for us. So we're here, we're home, we're like having a beautiful, enjoyable day. And the kids are hoping to get to watch the race. Hopefully they'll get to start. But we had such a wonderful time. Again, thank you to Charlotte Motor Speedway for hosting us. I want to share with you guys like kind of about our experience and our day. But I feel like with anything, there's always that like deeper heart matter, that if we don't get to that, like we're missing the reason, right? Like the bulk. And so sure, there's great, wonderful things that happen, but I'm always like, what's the heart? What's the root? Like what's the thing here, right? Like that's so much more important to me. And that's what I want to talk about today. Before we get into all of that, I want to be sure and make sure to remind you guys to check out our new Biblical Womanhood study, because we're getting ready to start next week. This is the 5th annual study. I'm so excited. What's really cool about this is normally we've been doing this study in our membership group, which we're still going to do because I love our membership group. If you guys are not a member yet, you're missing out literally on stuff that's going on YouTube with us all the time, because we've got a brand new website for them. You get private class pages for everything. You get study series all year long, and you get access to everything. So when you're a member, you get everything that's in there. That's really exciting. We are going to release this series study publicly. So anybody come and join. Maybe you just haven't wanted to try out the membership for whatever reason. It starts at just $5. But this is going to be public for everyone. And so the Biblical Womanhood study is getting ready to start. Again, you guys have it linked down in the description box. Go and check out that intro video. There's an email list you can sign up for, so you get all of the videos as they come out. We're going to have everything over there. And for our members, not only are you going to have that study with all the materials, your private class page, like all of the stuff over there, but we're also doing a companion series to that Biblical Womanhood study. It is called Walk in Faith, where me and my two older girls, Lily and Virginia, we are going to spend the summer going alongside of you and your daughters, if you would like to bring them along, looking at what it means to literally walk this narrow path and live out biblical womanhood in our day-to-day life in all of these different aspects. So if you haven't signed up for Biblical Womanhood yet, you guys head down to that description after this video so you guys can sign up, put your email address in so you're getting all of that, come join the collective, all that great stuff. We're getting ready to start. Share it with your friends, women in the church, people that you know that truly do want to grow in their walk with the Lord. I'm so excited for this. It's going to be fantastic. I want to make sure to remind you guys so you don't miss out as we get started. Now, let's talk about family life. I think family is important. I think family is like the most important thing. And I think that's why Satan works so hard to attack the family unit. Because when marriage is shattered, when the family is shattered, when all of that is shattered, it just makes his work so much easier. And I look at the hullabaloo with Target, and we're going into Pride Month and all of the chaos and all of the things that ensue from this. And you just go, oh my gosh, these poor babies. Like, this world is so twisted and so evil, and the mess and all of the things. If you missed out on Saturday's podcast, you guys go back and listen to Saturday's podcast. We're discussing all of this stuff. The family unit getting broken wreaks havoc, and maybe you're dealing with that. Maybe your family life is broken, right? Maybe you're like me and my husband and you come from a broken family, right? Dealing with, even as an adult, dealing with broken family stuff, like, it stinks. It's not fun. There's nothing about it. It sucks to live in a sinful, fallen world sometimes. Let's just be honest. But regardless of the situation maybe you're currently in, or that you come from, or that you grew up in, or whatever the case may be, the importance of family is so huge. And it makes me so sad when I see people who don't love their family time, right? That don't cherish it, that don't prioritize it, that don't protect it, that don't just look forward to it. And I think that culturally, kind of taking off from Saturday's podcast, culturally, I feel like it's become this acceptable thing, so we just kind of go along with it and maybe don't even realize how much we don't like it. It's even normalized within the church that the families are constantly split up. The men go to men's stuff, the women go to women's stuff, the kids are always shipped off over here. And there's a purpose for that to a degree. We're doing biblical womanhood. That's something for women. There are bits and pieces and times when I understand the reason, but the fact that it's just so broad stroke and more for a purpose of entertainment and kind of like social clubs versus true discipleship, like, that's where my issue stands. But the family is so special. And I think part of that is because things have been so separated and so categorized and things like that, there's not many things, I don't think, that families truly enjoy together, look forward to together, that really build up the bonds together. And let me preface this conversation by saying that, number one, maybe you're struggling because this is not your situation. Your marriage is not what you wish it would be. Your family is not what you wish it would be. Your relationship with your children is not what you wish it should be, whatever. There is a line where even good intentions can turn into idolatry, where you idolize this perfect family life that you wish you had, marriage that you wish you had, kids you wish you had, whatever it may be. And well-meaning, I think it starts off in a well-meaning place. But then that becomes the idol. I could just have that. So then anything outside of that, you're discontent, you're upset, you're jealous, you're frustrated, you're angry, you're whatever it may be. And so we want to check our hearts against that, because that's not what I'm talking about. That's not what I'm encouraging. Please don't misunderstand me. The other part being that these things I'm going to talk about, as far as finding this family togetherness, these activities, these things, they become the idols. I am so against kids in sports for so many reasons. One is because it is, I believe, one of the biggest forms of idolatry in family life, and that is acceptable even within the church today. Whenever we put anything above the Lord, our walk with Him, His word, His correction, His direction, discipleship, study, fellowship, right? All of that. Whenever we put something above Him, that's idolatry. You may not have a carved statue sitting in a closet, but things like, oh, I can't make it to church, we have sports practice. Oh, I can't do this, we have such and such. I don't really want to do this, I'd much rather do this, right? We have all these little things. That's setting up idolatry. So I just want to make sure as we go into this conversation that we're very clear up front that we can turn having the perfect family and the perfect family life into idolatry. We want to guard our hearts against that. We can take these family things that we enjoy doing and very quickly, very easily, very acceptable by those around us most likely, turn that into idolatry, and we don't ever want to be in those situations. And so let's just make sure we're on the same page going into this. Having a family life that is lovely, that we enjoy, that we look forward to, I think is so incredibly important. And I think that oftentimes we don't have it, and we don't even really know where to go to find it, or that we want to find it, right? I think we start filling our lives with other things. We give the kids more to do. I feel like we fill this void of family togetherness with busyness. So if all of a sudden the kids are gone, they've got all their extracurricular things, I'm busy with my things, my husband's always off doing his thing, we like fill this void with just busyness and stuff that we're doing. But I would actually caution against all of those things. Anything that is causing your family to go in separate directions, I would really go through with a fine-tooth comb and go, is this truly the best way to serve the Lord? Maybe it is. There's very great things that we can do that maybe you do, it's separate, or it's some time, separately. Okay. But really take that to prayer and look at it. I would caution against all the things that are making your family go every which way. Or maybe you're there, but like it's not actually a family gathering, like a family event. Like just because you sit, on the sidelines doesn't necessarily make it a family event. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. You just have to ask those true questions. Honestly, think that we would be wise to have these discussions as a family and go, what are the things that we could do more of together? In our household, we have very strict guidelines on things that we do apart. And they are few and far between. And hi, Cherry Boy, he's sitting up here getting loves. They're few and far between. They come with very strict guidelines, very strict regulations, and really a lot of prayer. And I'm so glad we've always done that, because we see that impact. In the times when it was difficult, even most of our friends aren't like this, it's like nobody else does this. Some do, some don't, but it just, we feel like the odd man out a lot. Our family doesn't get it. So many people don't get it, and they're like, why are you guys so weird about that? Well, because it's really important. Where we spend our time, what we're influenced by, what we're consumed with, like that matters in a deep heart level. And so it is important. It does matter. We do need to really think about this, pray about this, talk about this. But it doesn't mean then on the flip side that we just like sit in a ball and nobody moves and does anything and we just all sit right here, right? Like that's not what I mean either. It's saying, okay, once you've really thought about all of this, you've talked about it, you've prayed through it, you've asked the Lord for guidance, you go, all right, how best as a family should we use our time? We know that we want to be glorifying the Lord in all that we do. We want to be very aware of what is influencing us, changing, causing stuff. We want that root, that heart matter part of it. And we want to be together. We want to all be together doing stuff that we can all enjoy. What is that, right? What does that look like? And I think in different seasons of life, it changes. It doesn't stay the same. It's not a one-size-fits-all answer necessarily. I know as our kids have grown, this has changed. Since we've been here on YouTube, this has changed. And so now we've noticed, like with our kids getting older, my husband and I loved racing. My dad's been an off-road racer my whole life. We grew up just going out to the races. We're out the races all the time. We just thought it was what kids did when they spent time with their dad. Racing was his life. And when we had time to go be with him, it was because we were out at the races. And so we did that all the time. And then I meet Brandon, my husband. We started dating when I was 14 years old. And he loved, hi, Jerry. He loved NASCAR. He loved pavement racing. And so I was like, oh, I'll go to the races with you. I love going to the races, right? Like, that's fine. So we started doing that a lot, really got into it, and kind of hit this point where we said, hey, you know, we're married, we got a kid now, what are we gonna do? We can't just live in a dead end town. We'll move to North Carolina, work for NASCAR. How hard can it be, right? So we did. We got moved across the country to a state we'd never been to before. We knew one person in the state of North Carolina, and we both worked involved in racing. That's what we ended up doing. And so did that for years until we had Lily. And then it was not necessarily racing itself. It was just corporate life and the busyness and the chaos and the, you know, you work all the time to afford the house that you're never in because you're always working, and you can't take time off because then you can't afford the house, blah, 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 blah. And we're never with our kids. We started homeschooling Travis. We left, we started our own company and kind of just walked away from everything. And kind of went on this whole new path of life. And I think it's really been a very spiritually focused, refining process since then, for, you know, the past 12 years of really just looking at, you know, what the Lord has for us, you know, growing in our lives, truly coming to, you know, not just I grew up in the Christian church, but truly coming to a saving knowledge of the Lord. And ministry has been such a blessing, and all of this. But, you know, kind of hitting that point where we said, what are we doing? You know, what do we want, you know, with our lives? And now our kids getting older, and our kids really on their own came to this love of racing. And it's kind of comedic. I mean, our friends, you know, I was talking about it with my friend Alexis the other day, and she was like, do your kids even understand, like, racing was like the point of like how your lives got to where they are now? Like, racing was like the foundation to, you know, what all of this is now. It's just kind of funny to think about. But seeing our kids now just get so into it, there's so much there. And I think, you know, NASCAR kind of had this stereotype to it. You know, it was what it was in the 80s and 90s and even early 2000s. And, you know, I think there's a lot of, you know, misunderstanding about it. I just love racing across the board. But, you know, especially NASCAR specifically. But NASCAR, I think, stands out so much to me because it was built by families. Racing is so family focused. Not everybody does it right. I'm not saying that. Trust me, I live that myself. But it's built for families in so many ways. And it's one of the very few things that, like, everybody can have a piece in. Everybody can have involvement in. Like, everybody can be there for. And it's so much fun. And, you know, the tracks do so much to be there for families and to accommodate families and just do so many just special things. And it is one of the very few sport type arenas in our country specifically today where you can still go to service, you know, church service being held. I mean, there's a whole organization within NASCAR. It's so ingrained in it with MRO, Motor Racing Outreach, where they hold church services, right? You truly do. I'm not saying everybody's got it right or anything like that. If I saw one more elevation sticker this past week, I could scream. So I'm not saying it's perfect. Don't think I'm saying that. But there are so many men and women there that love the Lord. You see church being held for the drivers and the teams because they are at the track on Sunday. The charity and the just outreach that happens, you don't see that in other sports. There's very few other places where you're going to see that. To see drivers, you know, that do love the Lord, that use their platform for good and for more, like, you do see quite a bit of that. It happens in other places as well. I'm not saying it doesn't, but it really is one of the few places where you don't have to feel like, you know, you're the odd man out for being the, you know, conservative Christian in the group type of a thing. And, you know, my husband worked for Charlotte Motor Speedway, which is part of SMI, and Marcus Smith, who's the head of that now. He worked for him, had the pleasure of working for him. We got to know him, and his family was there for us. You know, we actually, when my husband first started working there, we lost our home in a flood. It was like a whole debacle. And to see the way the race community came together to provide for us. I mean, they put us up in one of the condos at the racetrack. You know, Marcus himself and his family made sure we had everything we needed, you know, and all these different things. Like, that community there and that, you know, willingness to be there for one another is unlike no other. I mean, the racing community just across the board, from off-road to NASCAR to whatever, like, it really is big. It really is important. And it's such a beautiful thing to see. And so just seeing that family atmosphere, seeing that togetherness, seeing that, again, can you twist it and use it in a different way? Sure, of course, you can do that with anything. But largely you see this good. You see this family atmosphere. You see families at the track, the drivers themselves with their families, just the family friendliness of it all. And I think it's really neat. I think it's really neat to find this, where we've been looking at with our family, I would say for the past 5 years specifically, of our wedding business kind of winding down, us going into ministry full time, and then being so consumed with ministry that we've really, in the past, couple years of chaos going on in our lives, we've been trying to find this balance of like, how do we balance, yes, the work that we do, the things that we love and we feel absolutely called to do, but yet our family life and what's best for our family, right? In that time and that, relational building with one another. And I really think for us, racing's that answer. And seeing how much the kids are into it now and everything that goes with it, for us, it was just so lovely. We love the home that we've created. We love the things the Lord blesses us with. We love slow and simple living. We love our flower farming adventures. We love doing all of our things here with our homeschool and the co-op and all of the stuff. We love all of that. But as far as like a thing to go do, a thing to look forward to, right? That little thing that you just, get out there and have in your lives, and especially now with our kids getting a little bit older, I think that's racing. And the kids after Friday's race, they're like, how do we do this? And I'm like, okay, step one, we've got to figure out how to have a reliable vehicle that our family can fit in. Like, we have to figure that out, because if we had that taken care of, oh my gosh, that's like a whole new world opened up. So join us in prayer on that, because my husband and I are about going bananas on this one ridiculous thing. And I know the Lord's got it and he's going to make it whatever it needs to be. But I'm like, that's the one thing that holds us back from all the stuff is, not being able to go get literally to anywhere. So that's a big thing for us. But I'm like, okay, we've got to work on figuring this out, because this time at the track, our son would love nothing more than to get connected at some of these local tracks and get to race himself. I mean, that is like his dream. If he could write books and race cars, which is the funniest combination, that would be him. Like, he loves it. Going to the track, being involved, finding ways that we can serve and we can connect with different, race communities and people. I mean, it's something we're really praying over, because our family just enjoys it so much. But that's all part of this. Having a conversation as a family and going, what is the lovely for our family? What is it that we look forward to, that we get excited about? How can the Lord use us in that? How can that grow us in our walk and our, going out as good stewards of the Lord and being that ambassador for Christ, right? Like how does this come together for us? And so, this is something I'm excited about. We've got a few ideas. We're kicking some stuff around. So again, if you guys want to, join us in prayer for this, it's something our family's excited about. And it's so great getting to meet, other racing type families, and, you kind of have those things in common. And it's just such an exciting and fun thing to see that come together and just see as a whole family how everybody can enjoy this. So we're excited for that. But I have to tell you guys, our experience on Friday, like, you just see the way that the Lord, things just happen in our life, right? And different little things come together. And then you see these events where like all the fabric is being woven together. And we're looking at it. We're supposed to go on Saturday. We reached out to Charlotte Motor Speedway, said, hey, we'd love to come film an episode. We believe in this. And we think more families need to see what racing can be like for a family, how fun it can be. Families need to get back to the racetracks, because that's a great thing to do together as a family. And be it local tracks, big tracks, whatever, there's so much that can be, just so much great family, bonding and fun and experiences that can happen at a track. And so I said, sure, no problem. Come on down. It's going to be a great time. Come film. It's going to be great. So our plan was to go on Saturday. Well, we're looking at the weather, and the weather looks awful. There's this massive storm coming in. It looks awful. We say, you know what? We're kind of in this conundrum, because we need to get a rental car. We rent through Enterprise. Enterprise is the best. If you ever need a rental, I'm just telling you, They're the only people we go through. And we actually rented, when we were busy with our business, we actually didn't have time to go car shopping. So we rented a car from Enterprise for almost 2 years. We're really close with Enterprise. So we go and we can only afford one day. We have a very limited budget to make this trip happen. Here's our debacle. Again, this is where I say, like, I am so fed up with the car thing. I'm like, Lord, I know you've got this, but it's making me bananas because it's just so frustrating, right? To have this one key piece that you're constantly battling, it feels like. I'm so thankful. My mom's amazing. She's lent us her car because we have been without a car for a few years now. And it's a blessing. But we don't all fit in it. And it is older with a lot of miles. So it's not like we're trying to like go romping, you know, eons and eons away. Don't worry, Mom, we're not driving your car all over the earth. But I'm so thankful for that. But then it comes to things like this and I'm just like, I've got to figure this out. My poor husband, he's working so hard. I'm like, it's okay, we'll get there. I digress. That's not what this is about. We can only get one day of a rental car. It's also a holiday weekend. So we either get the car for just Friday or we get the car for just Saturday. There's no way around anything else. We have to make a call. So we go, okay, I can't even get a hold of my guy who's supposed to have our passes, but I'm like, we'll just have to figure that out when we get there. I called Thursday night and I asked Enterprise, hey, can we get our car tomorrow instead of Saturday? The weather's looking bad. We're gonna have to go early. Enterprise goes, right now, we don't even have a van in. The van you're supposed to take on Saturday, we're waiting to get in Friday. And I go, okay, will you please let me know if one comes in? And the lady tells me, she's so sweet, and she goes, tomorrow morning, if we have one here, I will call you first thing. I'm like, okay. So I'm like, all right. Our poor contact at the track, I mean, they're slammed because everything's going on with these rain delays and stuff. So I haven't even heard back from him about our passes. We don't even know if we're going to be able to get a vehicle, but going Friday is looking like our only real shot. It looks like nothing's going to end up happening until Monday, but we're not going to be able to get a car on Monday because everything will have been closed for Memorial Day. And there's no way we can get the car early and keep it the whole time because that would blow our entire budget. So here we are, right? Enterprise calls us Friday morning. They say, we got you a van. Somebody brought one in. We got it ready right now. It's set off to the side for you. Praise God, you guys are amazing. Thank you so much. We will be right over. We go pick up the van Friday morning, come back. I'm like, everybody be ready to go, right? We load everybody up. We head down to the track. We get down there, we walk in. My husband has not been back to the track since he left, like, what, 10 years ago? I don't know however many years ago it's been forever. Yeah, like 10 years ago. There's only a couple people left there even, like in his old office that are still there. I think there's 3 of them now. We walk in and it just so happens that of those 3 people left that are even still left there that he used to work with, 2 of them are in the office. They all do like the double takes, like, oh my gosh, Brandon, you know, and they're connecting and having a great time. And I go, hey, here's the thing. Here's who we're working with. We're here to film. We're working with you guys, blah, blah, whatever. They get everything taken care of for us. They are amazing. I'm telling you, Charlotte Motor Speedway's team, go SMI the whole way. They're the best. They get everything taken care of. So we go out, we show the kids like the track for the first time, and their eyes, it was just the cutest thing. They were just so excited to walk out, to hear the sound of the race cars. Brandon and I always talk about it when we watch. We're like, there's nothing like being at the races. They'd never been there before, so they always thought we were crazy. Now that they've been there, they're like, there's nothing like that sound. I'm like, see, you guys know it now. We get out there, we have an amazing time. We watch practice, we watch qualifying, we kind of move them around and show them different seats. You know, it's Friday, so it's not as busy, and, you know, we're kind of taking them around and showing them what it looks like to watch the cars coming out of the corner and up on the banking, to be down really, really close, to sit up a little bit higher, you know, kind of moving them around and getting to show them around. My husband goes totally into like old him mode where he like knows all the spots and all the cool little tips and tricks around the track. And so the kids are just having a great time. Again, they've got like great seats. They've got these like nice like benches on, you know, the whole front stretch, so you can like, you got somewhere to put your stuff, and you got cup holders, and it's really enjoyable. And there's room for the kids to kind of get up and move around, and they're cheering and they're excited, and it was wonderful. And so then we get into, we got to watch 2 races. We got to watch the ARCA race, which is a lower series that, oh my gosh, my son's like, if I could make it to ARCA, how amazing would that be? But we watched that, and Virginia, the guy she picks that she wants to win, he wins it, and it's so exciting, and we're right there at the start finish line, so they get to go down, and they're waving and cheering and getting to see it all happen in front of them. I mean, it was a blast. It was so much fun. You can connect. I've heard drivers talk about this, like Denny Hamlin on his podcast talks about this. Like, he's a big basketball fan. He's like, you can't go to basketball games and just like get involved with the people, you know, like you can here. And NASCAR is cool in that way, that you're just accessibility and like being able to be there and everything. Like, it's very different. Racing offers a lot of that other sports don't. And so they get to be there, they're seeing him, he's getting interviewed, they're cheering, they're watching the burnout, all the stuff. They have a great time. So now we still get a whole nother race that we get to watch. Now we get the truck race. So the kids are so excited for this. They're right up in the front. They're getting to watch the drivers be introduced. Olivia gets to see Haley Deegan, who she loves, and Virginia gets to see, and Lily get to see Zane Smith, and you know, all these different things. So it's really cute. Or wait, no. Virginia likes Zane Smith, Lily likes Ty Majeski. So they've all picked who they're going for the win, right? And they're watching, and they're so excited. And we watched the whole race, and it's just fun. It's enjoyable. Everybody's having a great time. There's nothing like, you know, the whoosh of the cars as they go by, and when you see a wreck happen, and all the smoke, you know, all the stuff. I mean, the whole thing's just this like exciting experience. So they're doing it all. They're having a wonderful time. It's getting kind of late, but we're all cozied up. We brought blankets, and we're kind of tucked in and kind of just enjoying and watching. And then at the very end, they get to see the next winner, Ben Rhodes. He wins, he does his burnout, you know, where we take him down to the front, so they're right at the start finish line. And then the coolest thing in the whole wide world, we see the official coming down from the flag stand, and he points and he calls Olivia down. So I grab Olivia, Virginia follows me, and Lily stayed behind with her dad and brother because she was like, I don't really know. And so they brought us down, and he said, hey, do you want to give the checkered flag to the winner, to the driver? And we've seen this on TV before, and it's always like, oh, that's so cute. Well, obviously we've never been in the situation. So she goes to give it to Ben Rhodes, who won the race. It was really cool. We learned all kinds of stuff about him. He seems like an amazing guy. She goes to hand it to him, and he was so sweet. And he told her that she could keep the flag. And we're like, are you serious? Like, what a kind thing to do. Like, she was trying to hand it to him, and then he said, you know what? No, you keep it. And so he handed her the flag back. He gave Virginia a handshake. And I mean, it was just the sweetest, cutest little thing. And we got to, you know, connect. And then, you know, there's cameras and all the stuff. And then as we finish all of this, my husband's BFF, who's watching the race, he's texting us the TV footage of all of this going on, you know, on the coverage that night. And so it was so sweet. Then she got to see, you know, Charlotte Motor Speedway is posting on all their social media with different clips and different angles. There's one of the guys there in the stands. He filmed the whole thing and like airdropped it to me while we were there. And then she got to be like this little rock star walking out, waving the checkered flag at everyone. We even ran into someone who knew the driver and sent him, you know, a picture of us, you know, and everything. So it was just really, really cool to see again, just that connection, where apparently now Olivia gets to be on TV, and Michael Waltrip's talking about, oh, look at the baby got the race flag, and like, just what a cool little thing that she gets to have, you know, as her first race experience. Virginia was there, she got to do it. Lily was there, Travis was there, you know, they all got to see this and be a part of it. And it was just such a fun thing. And now seeing our kids that are like, man, how do we do this? How do we go out? How does this become a piece in our ministry? You know, can we partner with teams? Can we partner with other outreaches? Can we partner with different things and, you know, serve in some way to, yes, do something fun together as a family, but do something that's meaningful as well. And if it can encourage others to want to have something as a family, to spend more time together and do things, that just sounds amazing. And so it was such a great time. I'm kind of still honestly really exhausted. That's why I'm sitting out here in like comfy clothes and no makeup chatting with you guys. But it was so much fun. And I'm not saying that racing has to be your thing, because maybe it's not. And I'm saying to really check your hearts and check your hearts continuously, because I see so often, even with racing, absolutely, where it becomes an idol, where that's the most important thing, right? Can't go to church, race is on, can't do this, race, you know, and you see where that gets put before stuff so often. Idolatry has to be checked in all aspects of life at all times across the board, 150 million %, okay? But when you can find something and find a balance that as a family, you enjoy this, you love this, the Lord can use you in your life and your example and your ministry of home in this, right? All of those little pieces can come together. Your family can come together. It can build up your unit and all of that. Like, that's what it's about. And I don't want to pursue the things that are going to take us all away from each other. I want to search for the things that are going to build us up, let us live out our lives as ambassadors to Christ, and strengthen our bonds with one another. And for us, you know, if racing can be a way for that, amen, let's do it. How do we make this work? What do we do next? But it was just such a great time. And again, you know, it's so much fun. To Charlotte Motor Speedway for having us, you know, getting to see old people we worked with and, you know, whatever, and to be at the track again, to give our kids that experience, to have an amazing young man like Ben Rhodes who wins and then gives his checkered flag to our 5-year-old, you know, just what a special thing. He took that time and, you know, shook Virginia's hand and, you know, was so kind. And so, definitely praying for ways that we can do something with this. And I think it's a great learning experience for the kids too, because I talked about this and I said, hey, if that's your goal and what you'd like to do something with, you got to figure out how, right? Now, what do you create? What do you do? How can you serve in that in a way that allows you to be involved and be around it and have a purpose and a heart, right? That rooted matter in that. And so, you know, seeing their ideas and their things they're throwing around and things we're talking about, I'm just praying over all of it, that the Lord will guide it, the Lord will use it, and that it can be something that will build the family up, but allow us to pour into others as well. And so, the whole thing's just exciting. It really is. And it was our lovely. I know being at the racetrack might not be the lovely for everybody else. I mean, I love sitting out here and having my tea parties and like my relaxing little, you know, whatevers and my vintage china, but I will happily take my vintage teacup and sit out on a pit box down in, you know, I will sit in the pits all day sipping my nice little coffee and just having a great, lovely time at the track. Because to me, I'm like, that's perfect. Like, I love like that soft feminine, and I could do all of that sitting at the track and having a great time with my family. Like, done deal. Sounds great. So that was our fun thing. I just want to share that with you guys here today and kind of have that conversation, and hopefully it can cause you and your family to kind of stop and think and talk about that and pray about that and go, what is that lovely for our family together, right? That bonds us, that builds us, and allows us to then pour into others as well. So food for thought for the day and a little recap of our fun family race day. I pray you guys are having a great week. Praying you guys can go over now and check out our biblical womanhood stuff. Actually, I'll go ahead and link it up here if you want to watch that video next and see the introduction. Of course, check out all those links down there and sign up so you guys can join us for biblical womanhood. Praying with you and your family today as you search for your family's lovely. And I'll see you guys right back here come tomorrow. Bye, friends.